Welcome back to Weekend Breakfast with me, David Bull. I'm joined by Esther Krakow and also Steve Denyer. We're whizzing our way through this morning's papers. I just want to tell you a few emails that are coming in. Thank you very much indeed for all of these. Good morning, David. This is from Glynis Redwall saying, good morning, David. There are many other road routes into France. We don't need to queue at Dover. Go to another port. Thank you for that. Good point. However, if you book your ticket, obviously a bit more tricky. This is Sparky saying, good morning. Why are they promising tax cuts and more spending when, especially Rishi, it shouldn't have been done in cabinet. I don't trust either of them, and I will not be voting for them. It's laughable. And David, no speedos. I know, I'm very upset about that.
You don't know what's going on under the beneath the desk.
That's very true. And Michelle on the scrap heap says, I love Esther. She's so smart, beautiful, and always on her game. And she gets to hold her own with all the best broadcasters. Well done, Esther. Have you paid lots of people?
I wish. Apparently, according to the internet, my net worth is outrageous. But I'd like to debunk that because I own a Corsa.
And it's a very fine car.
Okay, we'll say that. It's a matchbox.
Right.
It gets you to where you need to go.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay, Steve, what's your next story?
Let's talk about, and I wanted to get your take on this, Brits who go to places like Turkey. The Sun's done a big article. There's a woman called Amanda who went there to get turkey teeth.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot about this in the last couple of weeks. People who've gone over to get the perfect set of gnashes and they've come back with almost stumps. And it looks very, very painful. And I think that, would you agree when I say you get what you pay for?
Yeah, we did this story last week, actually, and so basically the background is it's much cheaper if you go to Turkey, for example.
Yeah, like veneers.
Well, they think this is the nub of it, is they think they're going for veneers. Now, veneers fit on your teeth.
Yeah.
What they're actually getting is crowns, and they file the teeth
down to little Tic Tacs.
Yeah, yes, little pegs, and from the pegs they then rebuild the tooth.
Yeah.
And of course, many people get all sorts of problems. So, my advice is just to be, yes, caveat emptor, buyer beware, make sure you go somewhere with a reputation, know what you're doing.
Yeah.
But of course, you see, if it looks too good to be true, it probably is.
And they end up looking like their teeth are keys, like piano keys. And I just think, if I paid that much money, exactly, to have my teeth filed down and then to have them replaced with effectively these boulder chips, I would be very angry.
So there's a bigger question here: is why is everyone obsessed by having these sort of Ryland teeth?
Well, I think it must be TV reality shows. It's got to be that perfect.
They should pay half commission to Ryland Clark.
Yes, exactly. He's really the face of it.
Yeah.
I know lots of people who've been to places like Turkey to get hair replacement surgery, and a friend of mine said it's exactly the same people who work in Harley Street in London who go over to Turkey at the weekend and do these operations, but it costs less if you're prepared to go. Yeah. And I know a few people who've come back and suddenly they've got mullets.
Yeah, it's incredible.
And they've just spent a couple of grand, and the aftercare's been good, but it would seem that you could really get stuck if you...
I think one of the markets that's really opening up in terms of cosmetic surgery is actually India.
Very much.
Yeah, very much. And I know there are a lot of Middle Eastern people, because rhinoplasty is quite popular in the Middle East and parts of Asia, actually, like Korea, South Korea and stuff like that. So I think India, from what I've heard, Indian doctors have very good reputations as well.
They do.
And it's not as cheap as Turkey, but it's cheaper than here, and you can get really good service. So
yeah, interesting. I've actually worked in India, and the medical system is very akin to the British system.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course, like India, it's sort of based, it has roots in our system as well, and they're, as you say, brilliant.
Yeah, if you're willing to pay for it, you can get a really good service.
So maybe the trick is to find a kind of middle ground price where it's not outrageous.
Well, I think
what would you say?
Well, the trick is to know exactly the procedure you're having. So if you think you're having veneers, make sure you get veneers. Do not settle for crowns.
Yeah.
They are entirely different procedures, but they're easier to do and they're cheaper, and that's why they get them.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so there you go. Right, let's move on to your next story.
Yes, I just love the headline, the front page of the Daily Star. Yabba dabba doo phew. This is all about the weather, and they're saying, climate change people are saying that it's the hottest since 125,000 years. This is going back to kind of Flintstone time. This is the UN's Intergovernmental Panel, which sound like a right laugh, don't they? You want to go over them on a Friday?
I know, exactly.
They're now predicting hotter weather again at the end of this week, so we're going to go back up to 30 degrees. They're saying that by the time we get to August, we could see another 40-degree couple of days.
You know what's really weird? It's almost like it's summer.
Yes,
It's almost like it's summer.
We have another cold winter coming up.
I mean, you know what? I couldn't have predicted this personally, hot weather in summer, but it has happened. What I do wish people would understand the difference between weather and climate, right? The climate, they're talking about climate here, not just weather, right? What we're experiencing now is weather. Exactly, is weather. The argument really should be based on climate, and the climate has always been changing. Now, obviously, there is evidence to suggest that human activity since the Industrial Revolution has sort of exacerbated or sped up rates of climate change. But again, that's really hard to tell. The climate, even just looking at climate change before the Industrial Revolution, is very difficult. Analyzing the Earth's climate is very tricky work. I mean, you have weathermen that never get the weather right, and they're still in a job. So imagine looking at weather over sort of decades and centuries. It's extremely difficult.
What I think is extraordinary is it's now sort of received wisdom that the climate is changing. But the climate, as you say, has always
been changing.
Now, the big issue is how much of that is down to human intervention. And we simply don't know.
But there's evidence. This is the thing. I tell people there is evidence to suggest that human activity since the Industrial Revolution has impacted on it. But look, we are actually, I mean, everyone except China, which is the elephant in the room, has been reducing its carbon emissions. Exactly. In the last sort of 20 odd years. So we also have to look at that. And really, that's why I say these eco-protesters, as inarticulate as they sound, they also sound very dumb, because they're not really looking at the root cause of the problem, like China, like Indonesia, like Russia, because that's where the conversation really should be taking place.
Yes. So what's your view on sort of these green levies? Do you think we should abandon them at least, or at least suspend them, whilst people are really struggling in terms of the cost of living?
Absolutely. But this is the thing. I don't think anyone just thinks, I've paid more taxes. Yeah, I'm really tackling climate change. I mean, the idea is completely absurd. I have so many questions and reservations about how sort of mobilizing governments around the world by these sort of champagne socialists, these Swiss economists that no one's ever heard of, and are telling us to make these fundamental changes to our lives to hit this incredible figure by the 1st of January 2050, like confetti will fall from the heavens. I'm very, very skeptical of that. I think if this is an issue, human ingenuity has always gotten us, past an issue, and I don't think governments are either ingenious, useful, or very efficient on these issues. And I think it's actually human beings being mobilized together for a cause that is bigger than ourselves, that actually gets results, not governments not paying more taxes.
Yeah.
I think green tax and green levy should go. I think more innovative sort of campaigns and efforts should be done, but it shouldn't be government shelling out loads of money to their friends saying, here are subsidies to build more wind farms. It should be something more ingenious than that.
Until the big players change, like China or Russia, nothing's really going to change.
Exactly. I mean, China wasn't at COP26.
I know.
They've set 2060 as their date to try and hit net zero. There's no plan set out. Narendra Modi in India, well, he's getting a lot of flack from Indian farmers, so he can't really go very far. Sri Lanka, part of their problem
But of course,
is the fact that they banned fertilizer.
But India's economy is entirely different to the United Kingdom. Of course, it's in a different state of development.
India actually produces stuff.
Yeah, well, it produces stuff, but also you've got a lot of very, very poor people who really can't survive.
Yeah.
And of course, they need to look after their own population. So for many of those people who are living in literally slums, net zero 2050 is not a big deal for them.
There's a big sort of colonial argument saying you people had the Industrial Revolution, you were allowed to develop, you were allowed to sort of plunder the world, and now we're being told to stop doing that. China is building more coal mines than we can even count. I mean, this is a very nuanced conversation, but I don't think people like it's just stop oil help at all.
Can we just enjoy this weather, because it's not exactly easy to go anywhere.
Exactly.
Let's just have a couple more weeks before it snows and enjoy some sunshine and some warm weather. That's the Denya opinion.
Well, the Denya report is spot on as ever. Thank you very much indeed, Steve. Very nice to see you. I hope you'll be back.
Thank you.
Thank you to both of you for the moment.